Welcome back to my channel. I have this crazy idea. I want to use this other plant basket, hanging basket that I no longer use. The little clips are gone. And I want to do another bird cage, but I want to do it for Halloween. So let me get some stuff together and let's get started. Okay, I have a heavy box that I'm going to use to trace the plant hanger. And that'll be the bottom and the top. And then once I get this cut out, I'll just go ahead and trace it again on the other side of the box. And repeat. And if you don't have heavy cardboard, you might want to double this up and layer it because you want it to be nice and firm. This is going to be your stable top and bottom that's going to connect everything together. Now that I have these cut out, I traced the planter and it's not exactly a perfect circle. So what I did, I matched the two discs up that I cut out and I marked them so I can keep those lined up when I add the dowel bars. Now I'm taking the planter and I'm making sure that it is in the same space that I had traced it so I can mark off where all my dowel bars are going to go. And I'm using these real long skewer sticks that I got at the Dollar Tree. Now with both of my discs put together, all the little spots where I marked where I want the dowel bars, I'm taking my awl little poker that I use for journaling, and I'm going to press that through to mark both holes at the same time. And because this back side is really shiny, I'm just scuffing it up a little bit so the paint will stick to that paper. And like magic, it's painted. And while those are drying, let's move on and cut the dowel bars. Now I have two cutters. One is like a solid knife, and then one is actually a razor blade. So I'm going to try to use the knife one. Because I only have a few of the dowel bars left, I'm going to measure around 15 inches so I can get two cuts per dowel bar. Okay, I want to cut out arches to go between each section on the planter. So this is, I'm going to use the cardboard and I'm going to measure it and cut arches. All right, my pieces are going to be 3 inches by 4 inches, and then I'll trace an arch into it. Now all the pieces that I'm going to cut out, I'm just going to set them aside because I might use those for something else on this project. Okay, now the top and the bottom is completely dry. I did use the tip of the skewer and make the holes the size I need for the dowel bars. But first we need to paint all these black before I glue them in. All right, now that they're dry, I'm ready to glue these in. I'm going to start with the bottom piece, and I'm just going to put a little glue in the hole and place the dowel bar into it and work my way around. And I wanted to make sure that I had the top and the bottom lined up with the marks that I made before I put the dowel bars into the top part. But this part, you're not going to see a whole lot because the way the camera was, and the cardboard's covering everything up, but I'm working around getting all the dowel bars into the little holes. And while I was working on that, I wanted to make sure that I could hang this. So I found some beads that were the same size dowel bars, and I'm going to tap those down on there and glue those so I can hang this also if I didn't want to just leave it sit somewhere. Now I know I just used all the dowel bars to get this all put together. I was in the drawer and found the stir sticks, and I was checking to see if those were as long as I needed. And I want to use those to kind of make it a little bit more thicker looking than just the dowel bar. So I'm going to take each stir stick and glue it to the dowel bar. This project's being made as I go. I had no plans, so that's why I have kind of overdone it and added an extra layer to the dowel bar, but this is what it looks like. Now I've added my top, and it's looking like a bird cage. Now all those little pieces that I had cut off the arches, I kind of curved them a little bit so they can go directly down below and get glued on for decoration at the bottom. I had this big wooden ring that was from an old handbag, and it'll work perfect on top to use to hang this with. So now I'm going to take some jute, and I wrapped the jute around, glued it, so it's not going nowhere, and I'm able to lift that up by that ring. Now on the bottom, all the little scalloped pieces that I had glued on the bottom, I'm going to take some jute and I'm going to glue over top so you can't see the corrugated in the cardboard. So I'm going to completely seal that up and go all the way around. Now I went through my stash and I found these little pieces of wood. I got them at the Dollar Tree, and I want to cover up these little openings, but I want to use design. So I think I'm going to use these. I'm going to glue them on each one of those sections. All right, after I've gone over the top, I can still see the little bit of cardboard, so I'm going to add a second one and tuck it up underneath of the first one. Now I also had little round discs, so I'm going to put those at the very top, and that'll cover up the little bead that I had originally used on the top of the dowel bar. Plus it'll help glue the wire basket to the top. Oh, but wait, we need more. So let's add some more to the top. I do have the little branches that were also at Dollar Tree. So let's put one across in between, and you don't see the bottom of the cage, and it will also help glue the cage to the top. So let's add all that. I still have more of the little branches, so let's just start with the bottom, and we'll put one at the bottom on each one too. We're just going to go crazy on this little cage. And then I have a bead that we can put on top. Why not? I have this one little bent branch, And I think that'll work perfect for a little bird swing. So I'm going to get some of my jewelry wire and use it to hang. Now it's time to give it a little paint. We want to do it completely black. And then I need to go look for maybe a bat or a crow to put in my cage. I'm trying to hold the camera and paint this at the same time, but we'll do this. So this is what it completely looks like painted. I did go crazy with it, but overall, I think I spent a whole $6 just on Dollar Tree items to glue on this and a pack of the stir sticks from Lowe's. So there was not a whole lot of money into it, but there was a lot of work. But this is going to turn out beautiful for Halloween, and this will be continued. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your support, and have a great day.